Why would you need to set up all these shell corporations, all these front companies, to receive money from foreign governments, foreign corporations, foreign individuals tied to these various corrupt governments? Why would you need to set up these companies to receive the money and then to disperse them to family members? Something very big has happened this week, and that is the Republican House Oversight Committee chaired by James Comer. Now, let me tell you something. They deserve kudos and a lot of credit. They've gone through painstakingly very complicated financial materials, including from the Treasury Department, wire transfers, including banks, and they had to kind of go in a circuitous route because they weren't getting any help. And they used subpoenas, and in a few months' time, they really dug into the Biden crime family the way that the Department of Justice absolutely refuses to do, which I'll get to in a minute. And we're going to play a few minutes of what James Comer had to say so I can comment on it, but let me say prior to that, that what you have here is a complicated grouping of LLCs set up as shell companies to launder money through. And the reason you set up an LLC for any purpose is to try and conceal the activity. So you might buy a home and you don't want people to harass you or your friend, so you put it in an LLC, perfectly legitimate. There's many legitimate reasons for an LLC. It doesn't take long. You pay some lawyer, they set it up. But one reason you don't set up an LLC is to create all these front companies to wash money through from one to the other to the ultimate recipient, unless you're trying to hide something. There is no other reason for it. And in the case of the Bidens, as you'll hear, the chairman points out, as do members later, that what is their business exactly? What do they do? And later on, and it's not in this clip, Comer says there are literally 9 family members, Biden family members, including 3 grandchildren, for whom these LLCs are set up and money is laundered for them to receive. Now, obviously, the grandchildren don't know what's going on, but the people setting this stuff up do. And they're able to track some of the transfers that occur at a time when Joe Biden is vice president of the United States. In fact, every piece that they're talking about is when Joe Biden is vice president of the United States. And they can show that money came in and then he made a trip to Romania or he met with the president of Romania. And they're working through all of this. One reporter said, how does this connect to Joe Biden? Well, why do they think the communist Chinese and the Romanians and the corrupt Ukrainians before Zelensky and are pouring money into the coffers of his family members? And Bob Alinsky, who is a fantastic potential witness, who actually witnessed what took place, he was going into business with these people, said that Joe, in fact, was the big guy mentioned in emails on the laptop. And we have contemporary information right there on the laptop that Hunter Biden never expected to be seen, in which they talk about him getting 10% of the cut. Now, I don't know what the hell else you need to trigger a special counsel. That's pretty hard evidence. And Bob Alinsky said he's prepared to testify. He met with the FBI for 4 or 5 hours, and they never called him back. The FBI has the laptop. What are they doing? They're spiking it. That's what they're doing. So let's hear what Chairman Comer had to say, and then I'd like to comment further. Go.
Thank you all for coming today. Since taking the gavel in January, the Committee on Oversight and Accountability has accelerated its investigation of the Biden family's domestic and international business practices that we began last Congress. I want to be clear. This committee is investigating President Biden and his family's shady business deals that capitalize on Joe Biden's public office and risked our country's national security. This committee has a duty to ask questions and pursue the facts, no matter where they take us. Through the committee's investigation, we intend to provide transparency to the American people and reach legislative solutions. In only 4 months since obtaining subpoena authority, we have made astonishing progress. Today, we'll talk about that progress. First, we want to discuss information the committee has learned since our last press conference in November. New information investigators have uncovered regarding the transfer of money from foreign entities to the Biden family. Many of the wire payments occurred while Joe Biden was vice president and leading the United States efforts in these countries. First instance, while Vice President Biden was lecturing Romania on anti-corruption policies, in reality, he was a walking billboard for his son and family to collect money. Hunter Biden and his associates capitalized on a lucrative financial relationship with a Romanian national who was under investigation for and later convicted of corruption in Romania. The Bidens received over $1 million for the deal, and 16 of the 17 payments to their associates' account that funneled the Bidens' money occurred while Joe Biden was vice president. In fact, the money stops flowing from the Romanian national soon after Joe Biden leaves the vice presidency. This is a pattern of influence peddling. This appears separate from any payment Hunter received from his work connecting this individual to a U.S. law firm. We'll also provide further information regarding the Bidens' relationship with China. This includes 2 individuals the committee is particularly concerned about. One of them, Xi Jinping, had close ties to the highest levels of the Chinese Communist Party and operated a multi-billion-dollar energy company with access to large sums of money. We'll discuss how the Bidens received millions of dollars from this individual through the use of shell companies and wire transfers. In March, the committee released its first bank records memorandum that showed a Biden associate, Rob Walker, used his company to funnel money from the Chinese to various Biden family members. Democrats dismissed the evidence, even though it was based on bank records directly from the bank. The Democrats on the Oversight Committee received the same records as the Republicans, and they were able to verify the information. Democrats said all the bank records showed were Papa John's and Starbucks receipts. They deliberately chose to misconstrue and deny what was clearly in front of them. Hunter Biden's representatives claimed the money was, quote, good faith seed funds, but could not explain why those funds had to go through an intermediary in what appears to be an attempt to hide the transfers from the Chinese. They also couldn't explain why the Bidens received over $1 million in 16 different wire transfers over a period of 3 months to at least 5 different banks. The president, when confronted with this information, said it wasn't true. Instead of being honest with the American people, President Biden has claimed since the 2020 election that his family has not received money from China. That was a lie in 2020, and he continues to lie to the American people now. The Bidens have received millions of dollars from China. It is inconceivable that the president did not know it. The White House refuses to correct the president's statements, showing the president is now using the federal government to run interference for his families and his own role in these schemes.
That's a lot of information there, folks. And there is more even later in the presentation, and they're not even done. They just began their investigation. This guy, Robert Walker, they're talking about, who seems to be one of the main figures through which money was received and then dispersed, he will not cooperate with the committee. And, of course, Hunter Biden won't cooperate with the committee. And they had difficulty with the Treasury Department early on cooperating with the committee, and now you can see why. These suspicious wires that were coming in. So I ask you to use common sense. You don't have to be a lawyer. Why would you need to set up all these shell corporations, all these front companies, to receive money from foreign governments, foreign corporations, foreign individuals tied to these various corrupt governments? Why would you need to set up these companies to receive the money and then to disperse them to family members? There are 9 family members that have received some of this money, some more than others. Hunter Biden, Jim Biden, Joe's brother, Jim Biden's sister, Hunter Biden's ex-wife, Hunter Biden's ex-girlfriend, who was his brother's wife, Hunter Biden's current wife, that's 6, 3 grandchildren, that's 9. Much of it, or a significant amount of it, when Joe Biden was Vice President of the United States. Now, if you have family members receiving this kind of money, let's just play dumb the way Joe Biden is. And you say, I'm unaware of any of the business activities of your entire family? Everybody's getting money, obviously using your name. Your name appears in the laptop of your son, Hunter Biden, which you fought to keep secret before the election with the 51 phony national security people signing it at the behest of Blinken, which would be at your behest, certainly with your knowledge. Every effort made to prevent the appointment of a special counsel by the Attorney General of the United States, but when it comes to Trump, he hands out special counsels like lollipops? Really? And you say repeatedly you don't know anything about anything? And when you leave the vice presidency, you go into an institute down the street from the White House that is heavily funded at the behest of your son, Hunter Biden, by the Communist Chinese military, in which they pour tens of millions of dollars into the Penn Biden Institute, whatever that means. You barely show up, you give a few speeches, and you're earning $900,000 a year. Another way to get money for doing nothing. For doing nothing. Plus, you giving a speech, that'd be the most damn painful thing to listen to. I don't know who listens to it, but nonetheless, you're getting paid a lot of money. And you have these huge estates. How do you get these huge estates on a senator's salary? A senator's salary today is $174,000. When you were a senator, it was less. You're vice president, you made a little bit more money, but you acquired your Rehoboth Beach mansion. It's right on the ocean. You've got the ocean, a road, and then your house. You've got that estate in a very Tony area outside of Wilmington, Delaware. Meanwhile, AOC complains she's not earning enough money, the cost of an apartment, plus blah, blah, blah. The communists are always whining about something. But how do you make it work? It's not like Joe Biden was bringing in a lot of money. It's not like you inherited a lot of money. Where did all this money come from? Homes, Corvette, so forth and so on. And these are serious questions and legitimate questions.
Want to see more? Sign up for LevinTV.